Okay, what we're going to take a look at in this particular section is styling our app to make it look a bit better. Now, just to set the expectations, this is not a web design course, and I'm not going to go deep into CSS or semantic UI, but we are going to style our components using semantic UI components to make it look better than what it currently does. And what we're going to be using is segments to store our activity list items in. We're going to have a redesign of our activity details page, and we're going to lay things out a bit better on our browser page. So what we'll do first of all is we'll get these activity list items into their own component, which will make it easier for us to actually style them. So what we'll do, we'll head over to VS Code, and in our client app inside the features and the activities and the activity dashboard, we're going to create a new file. And this one's going to be called activitylist_item.tsx. And just like any other React component, they all start the same way. We're going to import React from React, and then we're going to export default function, and we're going to call this one activity list item. And we're going to return, well, what are we going to return? Well, we're going to return a list of items, and what we'll do initially is we'll go to our activity list. And first of all, we're just going to cut the activity item that we already have, including everything inside the item itself. We'll keep the activity group for now, and we'll keep our map function, but we're going to cut all of this code, and we're simply going to paste it into our new activity list item. Now we've got a bunch of things that we need to import, so we'll just go through the process of bringing all of these into our imports list at the top simply by removing a character. Or we can use the quick fix to go ahead and add to our existing imports. Whichever way you prefer, it doesn't really make a lot of difference in how we do this. Now we also need to bring in our activity, and we're going to pass this down to our component as a normal prop. So what we'll do is we'll create an interface, and we'll call it props, and we'll specify that the activity is going to be a type of activity. And just as we've done before, we'll add the destructured props in our components. We're going to have an activity, and we're going to get this from our props interface. And we'll also need to bring in the link here as well. So let's use the quick fix to import the link from module React Router DOM. And what else do we need inside here? We need the loading and the target. So let's go back to our activity list, and we'll bring in the handle activity delete function as well as the target. And in fact, let's just copy everything at the top. Just copy this time, not cut, and paste this into our activity list item at the top of this component. And we'll also need to bring in use store, and we'll also need to bring in use state as well, and the synthetic event, and that removes those errors. So what do we need in here? We don't need our activities by date. We do need the loading flag, and we do need our set target, and that's resolved all of those errors. And then we can go back to our activity list. And all we need inside here now is, we don't need that code, and we don't need the loading either, and we just need the activities by date inside here. And we can also remove these unused imports as well. So we can use the quick fix and say delete all unused declarations. And we've got an empty curly bracket there as well. So let's just remove that at the same time. And then all we need to do is just use our new activity list item component. So let's start typing activity list item, and we need to pass down the activity, and we're going to set this to the activity we're passing down that we need to get from the map, and let's just add that back in. So we'll say activity, and then we can pass down our activity, and of course we need the key, and that's going to be the activity.id. And let's make sure we've got no errors left inside our activity list item. This all looks good. What we should find is that we haven't actually made any changes here. We've simply created another component for our activity list items. and we can see them all inside this list. That's what we're looking for the time being. What we'll do next is we'll take a look at how we can group activities by date so that any activities that are taking place on the same date are grouped together inside here, and we'll take a look at how we can do that next.